Moz fans, welcome to another edition of Whiteboard Friday. Today we're going to go over all things image link building, which is sort of an art, and so excited to dig into this with you. So first and foremost, you need to know your link targets, right? What are those top platforms or websites that you would really like to acquire a link from? And then from there, you can start to understand who might be influencers on those platforms, who's writing the content, who might you contact, and also what are the top pages currently for those sites. There's a number of tools that give you a glimpse into that information. Moz's OSE, Open Site Explorer, will show you top pages. SEMrush has a top page report. SimilarWeb has a popular page report. You can dig into all that information there, really interesting stuff. You can also start to dig into old popular images and then update them, right? So what are old popular images within your space that you could have an opportunity to revamp and update? A really neat way to sort of dig into some of that is BuzzSumo's infographics filter, and then you would insert the topic, right? So you enter the industry or the topic you're trying to address and then search by the infographics to see if you can come across anything. You can also just transform popular content into images, and I think there's so much opportunity in doing that for new statistic reports, new data that comes out. There's tons of great opportunity to transform those into multiple images and leverage that across different platforms for link building. And again, just understanding who those influencers are, right? So from here, we're going to dive into the keyword research part of this whole puzzle. And this is really understanding the intent behind people searching about the topic or the product or whatever it might be. And something you can do is evaluate keywords with link intent. This is a brilliant concept I heard about a couple weeks back from Dan Schur's podcast. Thank you, Dan. But essentially, it's the idea that keywords with statistics or facts after the keyword have link intent baked into the search query. It's brilliant. Those individuals are searching for something to reference, right? To maybe link to include in a presentation or an article, whatever that might be. It has this basic link intent. Another thing you want to evaluate is just anything around images, right? Do any of your keywords and pictures or photos, etc., have good search volume with some opportunities? And what does that search result currently look like? You have to evaluate what's currently ranking to understand what's working and what's not. I used to say at my old agency, I didn't want anyone writing any piece of content until they had read all of the 10 search results for that keyword or that phrase we were targeting, right? Why would you do that until you have a full understanding of how that looks currently and how we can make something way better? Rand had also mentioned this really cool tip on if you find some keywords, it's good to evaluate whether or not the image carousel shows up for those searches. Because if it does, that's a little glimpse into the searcher intent that leads to images, right? That's a good sign that you're on the right track to really optimize for a certain image. Something to keep in mind. So from here, we're going to move up to providing value, right? Now we're in the brainstorming stage. Hopefully you've gotten some ideas, you know where you want to link from, and you need to, provide value in some way. It could be a reference, maybe something that people would bookmark. That always works. Perspective is a really interesting one. So some of the most beautiful data visualizations do this extremely well, where they can simplify a confusing concept or a lot of data. It's a great way to leverage images and graphics. Printouts still work really well. Moz has the SEO dev cheat sheet that I have seen printed all over at different agencies, and that's really neat to see it adding value directly. You can also curate images, right? We see this a lot with different articles. Maybe the top 25 to 50 images from this trade show or this event or whatever it might be. That's a great way to leverage link building and kind of getting people fired up about a curated piece of content. Okay, Gregory Ciotti, I don't know if I'm saying that right, has an incredible article I suggest you all read called Why a Visual Really is Worth 1,000 Words. And he mentions, don't be afraid to get obvious. And I love that because I think all too often we tend to overthink images and executing things in general, and why not just state the obvious and see how it goes. He's got great examples. So from here, we are going to move into optimization. And if any of you need a brush up on image optimization, I highly suggest you check out Rand's Whiteboard Friday on image SEO. It covers everything. But some of the basics are your title, right? You want to make sure that the title of the image has your keyword and explains what it is that you're trying to convey. From there, you need to have alt text. And this was first and foremost designed for the visually impaired, right? So you need to be mindful of visually impaired readers that will read this to people to explain what the image actually is. So first and foremost, you just need to be helpful and provide information in a descriptive way to describe that image. Compression is huge. Page speed is so big right now. I hear about it all the time. I know you guys do too. But one of the easiest ways to help page speed is to compress those huge images. And there's a ton of great free tools out there like Optimizilla, where you can bulk upload a bunch of large images and then bulk download. Makes it super easy. There's also some desktop programs, if you're doing this kind of stuff all the time, that will automatically compress images you download or save. That might be worth looking into if you do this a lot. You want to host the image, right? You want it to live on your domain. You want to house that. You can leverage it on other platforms, but you want sort of that original to be on your site. Source set attribute is getting a little technical, but it's super interesting, and it's basically this really incredible image attribute that allows you to set the minimum browser size and the image you would prefer to show up for different sizes. So you can not only have different images show up for different devices and different sizes, but you can also revamp them. You can revamp the same image and serve it better for a mobile user versus a tablet, etc. John Henshaw has some of the greatest stuff on SourceSet. Highly suggest you look at some of his articles. He's doing really cool things with it. Check that out. All right, so from here, you want to promote your images. So you obviously want to share it on popular platforms, right? You want to reach back out to some of these things that you might have tapped into earlier. If you updated a piece of content, make them aware of that. Or if you transformed a really popular piece of content into some visuals, you might want to share that with the person who is sharing that piece of content, right? You want to start to tap into that previous research with your promotion. Inform the influencers, ask people to share it. There is nothing wrong with just asking your network of people to share something you've worked really hard on. And hopefully, vice versa, that can work in return and you're not afraid to share something, a connection of yours has that they worked really hard on. From here, you need to monitor, right? And one of the best ways to do this is Google reverse image search. So if you go to Google and you click the images, there's that little camera icon that you can click on and upload images to see where else they live on the web. This is a great way to figure out who's using your image, where it's being held, are you getting a backlink, are you not? You want to keep an eye on all that stuff. Two other tools to do this that I've heard about is ImageRater and TinEye. But I have not had great experience with either of these. I would love to hear your comments below if maybe you have. Reverse image search with Google works the best for me. This is also an awesome opportunity for someone to get on the market and create a Google alert for images. I don't think anyone's actually doing that right now. If you know of someone that is, please let me know down below in the comments. But could be a cool business opportunity, right? I don't know. So for monitoring, let's say you find your image is being used on different websites. Now you need to do some basic outreach to get that link, right? You want to request that link for using your image. This is just a super basic template that I came up with. You can use it, you can change it, do whatever you want, but it's just hi first name. Thank you so much for including our image in your article. Great piece. Just wondering if you could link to us.com as the source. Thanks, Brittany. Something like that, right? Something short, to the point. If you can make it more personalized, please do so. I can't stress that enough. People will take you way more seriously if you have some nugget of personal information or connection that you can make. And from there, you just sort of stay in this loop, right? After you go through this process, you need to continue to promote your content and continue to monitor and do outreach and push that to maximize your link building efforts. So I hope you enjoyed this. I look forward to hearing all of your comments and thoughts down below in the comments. And I look forward to seeing you all later. Thanks for joining us on this edition of Whiteboard Friday.